And race after race in our.
All right, we're back on Ken Martin as Mauricio. We have to get ready right now, right? Okay, we're late as fuck. So, okay, I'm gonna change real quick. I'm gonna keep playing Ken Martin, and Mauricio is going to. I don't know why I'm saying your name like that.
State party.
Anyway, he's gonna
local
take
party
the cam
infrastructure.
out.
You know, if we weren't able to keep up in terms of building out this infrastructure, then there would be a problem.
Oops.
We've won over 90% of the elections on the
Don't worry.
ballot,
Oh,
and
it is
most of them, if not all of them, we had direct involvement in. And I just say this to you, John, because you know it was a bet we made, and I get it. You know, again, all the folks in D.C., what they like to, they seem obsessed about, and they spend a lot of time thinking about is how much money do people have on hand versus actually what are you doing to build out the infrastructure to win? And what is the role of a political party, John? At the end of the day, our job is to build infrastructure that our candidates can tap into, to do the things that...
Isn't the most important job of a DNC chair to go and raise money? And obviously, like
guess what? The job of the DNC
unfortunately.
chair... the job of the DNC chair is singular. It's to win. And guess what I've been doing the last year and a half? Win. And guess what I did for 14 years in a very purple state? Win, John.
Right.
And I'm just telling you right now, I think you and others who continue to bet against the DNC, keep betting. Because guess what? Here's the reality, John. We're winning. And we're winning because I'm defying...
Right, but the investments you're making are not... I mean, obviously there's a difference between off-year elections and midterm elections and what it's going to take to build the kind of infrastructure we need to win in 2028, right? I mean, I just think that's it. You've talked a lot about investing in state parties. The headline number is $20,000 a month per state. My understanding is that also includes like the Democratic Party of Guam and the Party of the Northern Mariana Islands, who get basically the same check as Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or North Carolina. I get that every state and territory has DNC members. Every one of them voted in the DNC election you won. But it's also a real chunk of money that's flowing to places without federal races. And so I just wonder if you have this much debt, is like that the right allocation of money to be giving it to state parties in Guam and Northern Mariana Islands when, you know, Axios reported that there's also contemplating layoffs at the DNC?
There's no, again, John, you're just throwing out a bunch of garbage. We've never contemplated.
That's what the report was.
We've never contemplated layoffs at the DNC. I haven't laid anyone off since I've been DNC chair. Okay. And so I just want to be very clear with you again and your listeners, because you're just repeating garbage, you know, pot shots at the DNC. I'm used to taking the pot shots, by the way, you know, and I think the mistake that you and others make is, you know, somehow I just don't care. I came to this job for one thing, which is to win. And if it wasn't,
so you think the state party allocation to like to Guam and everything is worthwhile allocation of funds?
I think it is a worthwhile allocation, because when we organize everywhere, we can win anywhere. And it's important for us not to just focus on federal power at the expense of state and local power. This is where I'm challenging the conventional wisdom of all these smart people in Washington, D.C. here, which is that the only thing that matters is control of Congress and the presidency. My job is to help us win everywhere, to build power up and down the ballot throughout the country, including in our territories. And so you and I can just disagree on whether or not those are investments that are worthwhile. I believe they are worthwhile. It's important for us to actually build power for our party and our party values everywhere there's Democrats, and we're going to continue to do that. And so whether you think that's a worthwhile investment or not, that's fine. You know, you can take your check back if you don't believe it's a good investment, John. But let me just say this. The role of the Democratic Party is to build infrastructure everywhere so that we can win. Let me give you a couple of examples of what that infrastructure is. You know, our voter file and our organizing tools and our data, every candidate, whether they're running for school board or president, relies on that. We spend over $10 million a year on that, John. That's a critical piece of the infrastructure that people rely on. Without the DNC, they would have to do that on their own, all of these candidates. Our voter protection and legal infrastructure that we build. Every committee and every candidate relies on us to be out there filing lawsuits and protecting the vote. We filed over 1,000 lawsuits, which is a record number of lawsuits over the last year alone, right? Including being lead plaintiffs in many of the big lawsuits challenging Trump's executive orders. This is a piece of the infrastructure people rely on.
On that, you mentioned the voter file.
Yeah.
There's been a talk that a meaningful chunk of the DNC's debt traces to the committee buying the Harris campaign's voter file. Is that accurate? Did you guys buy the Harris?
That is unbelievable, bro.
No,
this guy is.
That didn't happen.
This guy.
No.
This guy's incredible. He's like, listen, John, I'm the best at winning. Okay, and I'm sick and tired of your bullshit. I'm the best at winning. I've won Guam. It's the most important, most consequential territory to win. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear this bullshit from you about not. The lack of importance that you're giving to Guam is very frustrating to see. It's crazy. It's like Rizless Trump. It's like nerdy Trump. He sounds like he has a very Trumpian attitude, but it's also Rizless at the same time. I don't know why. I've never seen Jon Favreau this angry. I talked to this man about Hamas for 45 minutes, and he never once made this face. Okay? Your interview tomorrow has been leaked. Yep. It's very funny. It's very funny how frustrated he is, where he's just like, John just doesn't see the Guam angle. Yeah, some people don't have the vision. That's true. I'm not disrespecting Guam, okay? That's the one part where me and Ken are like this, okay? John is not a visionary. He doesn't understand the importance of Guam. It's pretty fucked up, if you ask me.
You're talking about buying a fundraising list, but that's not a voter file.
The fundraising list.
Yeah.
Did you?
Of course we purchased that.
I was just wondering about the rationale for that, because it feels like the DNC and the Harris campaign were operating off largely the same data infrastructure during the campaign. So what did buying the list?
You're confusing.
No, because we had to get the new list because the new list featured Guam as opposed to the old list that did not feature Guam. Very different set of circumstances. No Guam, no list. Yes, Guam. Yes, list.
Two things, John. Data infrastructure and fundraising list. Those are separate things. And
But even on the fundraising list, you guys didn't work up. That was additive. Their fundraising list for $6.5 million was additive to that. That was a good investment.
We purchased that list. And let me just say this, John, that happens all the time in campaigns and elections, as you know.
Oh, I know. It's just a big chunk of money. That's why I was just wondering.
But as you know, John, that happens all the time. So it's not unique to this DNC. It's not unique to prior DNC chairs. It's not unique to campaigns or elections. Frankly, campaigns and elections, campaigns at the end of an election sell their list to cover their debt. And so there's nothing new about that, John. And of course, that's one of the biggest lists and the most valuable lists out there. It's a great investment for the DNC. I'm trying to actually help us raise money so we can compete, so we can win. And that was not only a great investment, it's already paid for itself, and we're glad to be able to do that. And, we buy lists all the time. That's what people do in this business.
Pod Save America Breaking News is brought to you by Act Blue. Act Blue provides Democrats up and down the ballot with the tools they need to run effective campaigns and win. Fundraise, organize, build campaign websites, and donate with solutions that are easy to use.
Whoa.
Act Blue's been helping campaigns for a long time. At elections, when we have the wind at our back, and I feel great about the midterms. I feel really excited about the off-year elections too. As we head towards 2028, look, I saw this in 2022. We did well enough in the midterms, and Democratic insiders, Biden administration, everyone else were saying, you know what? This proves that we're going to win in 2024, and we're in great shape. And God, I hope so, because I think we need to win 2028 more than anything. But it concerns me that I see two things. One, this autopsy, which you campaigned on releasing, and I know you're releasing lessons, but are hiding still plenty of the details in the autopsy, and I just can't figure out what details that are in there that you don't want out there because you don't trust people with, because they're going to, I guess, argue about them, because it feels like we really need a robust discussion about where the party's headed, not just pundits like me, but the state party chairs and the DNC committee members who are asking you to release it. They're asking you to release it.
I know you want to keep focusing on that, and that's fine.
Well, and I'm saying, and I do think that affects and the fundraising isn't going well either. So I feel like that's
the fundraising. That is just completely inaccurate, John.
I mean, you had a great first year in 2025,
and we've had a great first quarter. $32 million we raised in the first quarter. We raised $4 million in March.
Okay, I have to swap back to this because wait, what's on this playlist? All right. I'm gonna play this off the playlist while we're gone.